Hey, this is Liz from Her DIY Dream Home, and I bought land. I am super excited to move on to the next step of my DIY dream home. This has been a long time in coming, and here it is. This video, we're going to do a tour of the property and then talk about the buying process, my due diligence, closing, selling my old house, how it all came to happen. I'm just really excited to move on to the next step. So come on, let's do a tour of the property. So before I show you the property, I want to kind of talk about how I got to this point. Several years ago, I really kind of made a commitment to myself that I was going to self-build my dream home. I've always been interested in architecture and design, and since I was a little kid, I've been drawing houses, and so this is kind of like my dream come true. After I made the decision, the first step I needed to do was make my current home in tip-top shape. I bought it a little less than 15 years ago. It was in need of a desperate remodel. My brother and I, we worked on it for about 6 months and kind of just redid the whole house from top to bottom, inside and out. Since then, I had been just living in it, and although it was a nice house, it wasn't my dream home. It's a small little cottage that's very typical for this area. So first step was to, when I decided to really kind of get serious on this journey, was to kind of finish or remodel the remodel, if that makes any sense. I went through, replaced all the flooring and all of the molding on the floor. I replaced the countertops that had gotten kind of icky over time, and just like little projects like that throughout the house. And so that way it's all done, and when I decided to actually jump and sell the house, I was ready to go. Second step is I knew that in order to afford to do this, I needed to be completely free of any like monetary commitments. So I couldn't sell, I was going to sell the house, so I couldn't rent a place because that was just going to suck up more money. And if I wanted to do this debt free, I really kind of needed to get rid of all debt. So what I did was last summer I bought a very cheap RV off Craigslist and remodeled it. I recorded all of the projects of remodeling it, and so if you haven't already watched those, you can go to my channel and watch all of that remodel. Not all the videos are up yet. There is like 2 more that need to be published. One is the bathroom remodel. I would say it's 75% done, but things happened earlier this year that made me not be able to finish it before I had to move it. And then I want to do a final tour of it after I'm all done. Mikey. Sorry, my dog. The next step was finding the property that I wanted to build on. I had a lot of boxes that I needed to tick. If I was going to live in an RV on the land, it needed to be able to do that. And in my area, that means it needed to be a rural property. I also wanted a property that was at least no more than 10 minutes from my office, and I also wanted it to be close to amenities like shopping. I had seen a piece of property that I absolutely adored, but there was a couple of things wrong with it. One, there's a really steep driveway, and it does snow here, so getting up that in snow and ice would have been almost impossible. And then the other thing was the price. It was astronomically expensive when I first started looking at it. It was just completely out of my price range and high for the market. So I kind of had been looking. There were a few properties that I saw that could have worked, and they sold pretty fast. One I actually put a bid on, and it sold well over asking, and then another one I had bid on, and it went over $25,000 over asking. It was crazy. So that was kind of like a no-go. Those were all offers that I had made contingent on the sale of my house, and through those experiences I found not only was I outbid, but nobody would take my offer seriously. The contingency was just a no-go for sellers when they could sell it to somebody for cash right away. So yeah, so that I kind of came to the realization last January that I needed to sell my house in order to move to the next step, which was buy the land. Around the same time, I was asked to house sit for my mother, who was going out of the country for almost 3 weeks. She wanted me to be in her house to watch her dogs. Her dogs are a little bit more high maintenance than mine. I can bring mine to her house, but the other way around doesn't work so well. So it occurred to me that I was going to be not in my house for almost 3 weeks. So I was kind of like, maybe I should sell my house. So I did. So that was January where it came, where I was asked to house sit, and she was leaving mid-February and not coming back until early March. So I really quickly packed up all my stuff, cleaned the house, got everything all ready to go. Hence the reason why I wasn't able to finish the RV. I just had to stop working on that so that I could get ready. So one of the things that made me selling my house like an option at that point in time, usually you don't want to put your house on the market in a January, February situation. The market's usually slower in the winter, but I had been watching the market in my area for quite a while, and the availability for houses in my price point was very, very limited, and move-in ready, like quality houses in my price point were super limited. So when this opportunity to be somewhere else with my dogs came up, I was like, well, yeah, let's do that. Let's sell it now. There were like 5 houses within my price point within a 20-mile radius, and my town is like a 20-mile radius. So yeah. So with the very tight market, I'm like, let's do it. I decided against using a real estate agent for selling my house. Like I said, the market was very much a seller's market, so I decided to say, hey, let's try it. If I don't sell it in the 3 weeks that I'm not going to be there, then I will hire a real estate agent and sell it that way. But, no risk, no reward, right? So I found a website that lists your home on the MLS for $99. You get to pick how much money you pay the buyer's real estate agent if it sells through a real estate agent. I did 1%. I listed it Friday night, spent Friday night at the house. My mom left Saturday morning. I moved out Saturday morning and held my very first open house, and the first person who walked through the door put a full price offer that night. So I sold my house in one day for full price. I was just ecstatic. So then I'm like, oh my God, I'm hopeless. So after my mom got back from her trip, I had about 2 weeks to be in my house before I had to figure out what I was doing. I hadn't actually really prepared myself that much for what happens when I don't have a place to go. Luckily, my mom, she's like, just stay here. And so after the 2 weeks that I closed, I came here to her house, and I slept on the couch for a couple of nights. It became very obvious really early that me and my dogs in the house with my cousin who was living with her at the time was just not an ideal situation. And so if you follow me on Instagram, you saw that I built a she shed in her backyard, and that is where I'm at right now. Ta-da! I spent about 3 weeks, the 2 weeks in between living at her house and closing, driving over here, and I built a 12 by 12 mono-slope shed that actually is completely finished. The plan is for me to live in it now, and then when I found property, I would move out, and then she would use the space as a home office. We split the costs for actually building it, and I did all the construction work with the help of my cousin. So now I have a place to stay. I have a pretty nice sized check in my bank account. And now I was just looking for property. I found another piece that I liked. I put an offer on it, and I was completely outbid, even with the full price cash offer. So I decided to go back to the property that I had seen several years ago. It was still on the market. I know, that's a red flag for most people. A piece of property that's been on the market for 4 years. That's how long it was on the market for. And it still hadn't sold. The reason why it was still on the market is for a couple of different reasons. Mikey, he's a whiner. Okay, so reasons that it's still on the market. The driveway. The driveway is very steep. It's a problem. It's going to be a problem, but I'm just going to need to keep it plowed or park up on the top of the driveway in the winter. I'll figure it out. Another reason why is that it required an engineered septic system. Those are not the best, they're more expensive to install. The layout of the lot was a little weird for people who wanted a traditional house. And then the other reason is it has a shared well. I didn't really find that a problem, honestly. A shared well means shared costs to me. I don't think it'll be an issue. I mean, we'll see, obviously. But here we go. So the property was still on the market. And by this time, property values had gone up significantly. When I first started looking at properties, paying $100,000 for 1 acre was outrageous. Never mind 135, which is how much this property was listed at. So it was just kind of a no-go then. But now, the price for an in-town 1 acre with a view, it has a view, just was outrageous. Or, well, no longer outrageous. Now it was like almost reasonable. So I contacted my real estate agent, and we put an offer in, and it's mine. I'm really excited. I think it'll work great for what I want to do. And it's a little bit more than I wanted to spend. Okay, it's a lot bit more than I wanted to spend, but land is land. Location, right? So here it is. My property is 1 acre. It's shaped like a parallelogram. It's approximately 175 feet wide and 375 feet long. The shared driveway starts on my property and then slopes down to the neighbors before winding back onto mine. At the top of the hill is a main road that has direct access. And at the bottom is an irrigation canal before you come to the river. Across from the river and to the east is a nature preserve. My plan is to create an extended flat area at the top of the property by pushing the dirt from the hillside down, and then maybe even bringing in more dirt. I will eventually create a tiered gabion retaining wall to hold back all the earth, but that's going to be in the future. The main house will be built into the side of the hill below the driveway entrance to the east. And then the workshop / garage / apartment will be built more forward on the west side of the property. The septic system and the reserve area must be on the lower half of the property, but at least 100 feet from the canal. The limited space and the type of soil make it, the septic system, an engineered system. I imagine that one day I'll plant trees between the drain field and the canal just to kind of make things prettier. I really like trees, and I think the dogs would enjoy it. So that was my property. I am super excited about it. I cannot believe that after years of working on this project, becoming debt-free, saving up, fixing up my old house, that I'm able to do this. It's just kind of a dream come true. And this next step is going to be a big one. I can't wait. So the next video, we are actually going to have an excavation company come out and remove the hillside here. and push it forward to extend the flat area where my car can park, and I can actually put the trailer and a storage unit for all my stuff. So we'll see you next time on Her DIY Dream Home. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you.